Welcome back, champagne poppers.
Hey
That's
guys.
it. I was just telling Taylor how awkward I feel now starting the episodes because we have intro music now and it took away my exact intro. So now I've got to learn how to not be a weirdo. But yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We are recording separately, which is sad,
Yeah.
but that's the
We like
problem of living so far apart.
we specifically said going into this season, like we're gonna try not to record virtually as often as possible, and we were doing super, super good, but we've had a very busy couple of weeks, and
Mhm.
we could have been like, no, I don't want to hang out with my friends. We need to record, or we could have enjoyed Labor Day weekend with our friends. So
Mhm.
here you go.
It's all right. It works.
Sorry, not sorry. But I think it has to be that way sometimes. But
Yes.
we had a good weekend just barely. We had our friend Lois in town from LA. So we were very busy. We went to Park City and she customized a Stetson cowboy hat, which I thought was so silly,
I'm
but like so
obsessed
cute.
with it. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with it.
Like low key want one for sure.
Yes, yes.
But I'm for sure gonna do something like that in like Nashville. That's a Nashville thing for me.
Hmm.
Totally. And then we went to the lake. It was basically our last lake day of the season, which is so heartbreaking, but I'm actually really excited for fall vibes.
I'm so excited for fall, but I am feeling sad that the summer's gone so fast. It's gone so
Honestly,
fast.
it totally did. It like I think this every year that like you get so excited for like school to be out, like that time of year and like summer to officially start. And June kind of is like a little bit slower, but it still feels really busy because everyone's excited to do stuff. And then suddenly like July and August are like you blink and it's a blur and you're exhausted and all of your money's gone and you're like,
Hmm.
wait, but now the sun is gonna leave. Like what?
Hmm. You really do spend so much money in summer. Like I spend way more money in summer than I do in December, like around
Yeah.
Christmas.
Like
It's
summer totally wrecked my bank account.
same, same. It's like, okay, I really gotta save money for Christmas now. Like
Hmm.
it's really weird how that happens.
I know Wally and I go through it like every season. We're like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And we start the year off like so strong with all of our financial goals. But I was just telling our friend Tanya yesterday at the lake, I was like, I need to always remember like we go from Henley's birthday straight to the 4th of July, straight to Wally's birthday, straight to my birthday, straight to school shopping and back to school clothes and then to Jaden's birthday and our anniversary all within that like 2 month window.
Hmm.
And I'm like big on celebrating things. And so it just really does take your money.
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
It's nuts. But I am actually like low key really pumped for fall. I'm a bit concerned that like fall might be short because we like skipped like we had like all the heat waves and then suddenly now
It's
like my mornings
freezing.
are yeah, the
Yeah.
mornings are so cold and I'm like wearing a sweater all the time and I'm like, wait, is fall gonna like blink and miss too? Like I want it like if it starts now, that's great, but stay till like for sure the end of November.
Hmm. I'm really kind of worried about our race because it's been so cold in the mornings. I feel
Yeah.
like our race is going to be so freezing.
Yeah, we have our next trail race coming up in like oof 3 weeks.
It
Oh
is
my God.
in, let me see how many days, you
I have
guys.
not been training. I have been so exhausted.
27 days.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've barely been training. I just got back also from Georgia for my niece's wedding. And I think before then I was truly about to die, it felt like. I had no energy. I was like everything was off. I was super angry, super grumpy. And that made it so I wasn't like working out. Like my workouts, I was like sometimes doing workouts, but they were just like basics, like they're not helping me.
Mm.
So I'm very excited that I went to Georgia though, because I got to like have a lot of Zen time on this like cute little lake cabin that we rented. And I feel so much better coming back. And I'm obsessed with like getting time in nature.
Yeah. I have been training because I don't know if you guys know, I
I
finally bought the
don't.
Peloton treadmill and I bought it for myself for my birthday. I am obsessed. I definitely have been training, but it is hard as hell. Hiking is so hard. Uphill, like incline walks are so hard for me for some reason. Like I
Yeah.
feel like my heart can't handle it. Like my heart rate gets so high and it just like stresses me out. So it's hard, but I have been training, still very nervous though.
It is really hard, and like they say that like hiking incline or like hiking or walking on an incline, which is what you're doing on the treadmill, is like one of the best low impact like trainings you can do. And I'm like, okay, I just need to remember like it's not meant to be easy. Like you're literally at
Mhm.
the maxed incline. Like you're not supposed to be like, this is just fine.
But the instructors make it look so easy. And like the max incline
Yeah,
is pretty high and they're like, go like 4, like for your speed. And I'm like, are you insane? There's
it's
no way.
it's because they're fit as fuck and they work out all the time. Like they eat
Yeah.
really well. They're not eating the way we eat or drinking the way we drink.
Yeah, that's true. But hopefully this time I have a better report for you guys on how I did on this second race.
It's gonna be great because you're gonna put good energy out there,
Mhm.
which is very in line with our topic today. So, do you have other stuff you want to update them on, or should we dive into it?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm ready.
Okay, same, I think. Who knows? I think you and I have spent too much time together that I'm like, what have I talked about and not talked about?
We're tired today, so
But yeah, so we are gonna be diving into the power of the motherfucking universe today. What it means, how it impacts your life, how you can like channel that energy and like manifest the biggest, best life possible for yourself. So that's something Taylor and I think are both extremely passionate about.
Mhm,
And that's why we wanted to talk about it. But I think it's also something that maybe some people might be curious about or just want to know more about. And so yeah, I'm really excited about it. Like just like I was saying with like going to Georgia and like having that time in nature, my cards that I kept pulling like kept saying or like anything like any signs that I was getting was like you need to get out in nature. Like that's always what grounds me and like brings me back to like being a human being, I feel like, and anytime
mhm,
my life feels out of control and crazy, my cards or something are always being like, get out in nature, go take a breath, like slow down. And I think those are like really cool connections that you can have to the universe. And I don't think people acknowledge sometimes like how much just being outside away from like the chaos of life can really like change your entire like energetic state.
mhm. And I think, like, no matter what your beliefs are, like, this may sound like you may hear the title of it and think, like, oh, this is like some weird woo woo shit that they're talking about. But really, like, no matter what your beliefs are, like, this is so true. Like,
Yeah.
I firmly believe the things that you put out are what you get back. You can call that karma, you can call it energetic exchange, like whatever you want to call it. What the things that you put out, you get back. And so everybody should be talking and learning about this topic.
For sure. Like that's kind of like what I was going to share with people is like cuz my journey with like the universe and like starting to really understand it and believe in it has been more in like the last several years, but like my whole life I feel like I've always believed in like karmic energy. So I've always believed like if you do like you break the rules, you're going to have bad energy or you're bad to people, like that's going to come back to you or you have a negative attitude, like that's just going to bring more negativity. Like that's always been like a big belief like that karmic energy, but it
Mhm.
honestly wasn't until my self-development journey, I would say, that I started to really notice or understand or feel connected to something bigger, which is the universe, like I think that really started to open up this way different mindset than I've ever had. And that is when like my intuition really started to guide me and show up for me. That's when I started being like extremely into like the sun and the moon and manifesting. Like I was always into my horoscope and stuff, but over time I think I just learned how to tune into that energy and create that I was like in control of creating the life that I want. And I think it's really did start with like my self-development and really working on myself so that and now I can like directly see how that happened and like when I'm not tuning into that frequency or how to tune into it. But yeah, it's been like a new-ish thing I would say for myself.
Mhm. I really want to point out too, like you can interchange the universe with whatever you want. It can be God, it can be spirit guides, it can be the universe, it can be the moon, it can be the sun. Like it doesn't have to be, it's whatever energy you feel connected to that's higher than yourself. And my journey
Yeah.
with this kind of started happening after I left the church, and it kind of just like went in throughout the rest of my life. But it really, like, the distinct moment that I remember it happening is when I went through my yoga teacher training, because I am surrounded by people who talk about this stuff all of the time. I learned about different energies. I learned about different vibrations. I learned about energetic exchanges with people. Like, I learned about all of that stuff, and I was surrounded by it. Like, for 500 plus hours, I was surrounded by it. So it's like, I don't know how I couldn't believe in this, because I have been shown it so many times. But that's kind of where my journey started with it. And I feel like it's just really like grown from that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's like for sure when I started to notice you being into it, but it's interesting because that's also the same time we started our self-development. That's when we started to invest
Hmm.
in ourselves and start to like what's holding us back and what's negative and positive. And I think like it's just interesting how all of them like played into each other and started to like really shape and change like our lives and like the directions we were in. Because like honestly, we were just like party girls. We were having
Yeah.
our brat summer all the time, basically, which
Hmm.
if you guys don't know what that means, Taylor just learned what a brat summer is, if you'd like to inform the group.
Oh, okay. Yes. Let me get a definition, because you know what, you guys, these things that people say anymore, I don't understand. So we kept hearing Brat Summer on like Sirius XM, and I see it on TikTok, and I'm like, what the hell is a Brat Summer? It sounds like Shelby and I are the ones who like coined this term, because we were really big party girls back in the day. But a brat summer, brat girl summer, celebrates sweaty party girl chaos, smudged eyeliner. Wait, this wasn't the definition that I saw, was
It
it?
adds it adds extra.
Yeah, sweaty party girl chaos, smudge eyeliner, grungy street style, and plenty of Y2K inspiration.
Yeah, that's basically us. But it also said something
Yeah.
about like lime green,
Yeah,
everything
like they
lime
wear a lot
green.
of lime green, and they celebrate the good, the bad, the ugly, and messy of life. And
Yeah.
that is still us having a brat
Yeah. I
life.
mean, low key a little bit, but like, but that really is like that's who we were for sure. And like
Hmm.
our paths like really, really have changed and transformed. And like, I don't know, it's crazy to think about like had we not done our self-development journey, like where we would actually be right now. Probably
Hmm.
not having a podcast.
Probably not. Probably not. And it's just, it's so interesting how, if you've ever gone on a self-development journey, it kind of just like falls into your lap. Like, you kind of,
Mhm,
I actually just had this conversation with my therapist the other day, of like, he was asking me like, how did you know it was time to change these things? How did you know it was time to like change this X, Y, and Z? And I was like, honestly, I can't remember. Like, it felt like a light switch kind of flicked in my brain, and was just like, we don't want to live like this anymore. Like, why do you want to live like this? You can't continue your life into your adult life going to the club every Friday and Saturday and dancing until the lights come on and they're kicking you out. Like, you can't continue this lifestyle. What are you wanting out of life? But I don't remember anything distinct that
mhm.
like made me want to change that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know either, honestly. Like, I think it's just like it, you said, like things kind of fell into your lap, which I think comes back to like the power of the universe, really. Like, certain things aligned that felt right, and we took advantage of them. Like, I
Hmm.
think for me, it really came down to like having you as a friend, like having someone that was like also kind of on the same path as me. And then also the Rachel Hollis book that I always talk about, Girl Wash Your Face, like that coming into my life. And I think that those certain things or people come into your lives that are part of the universe in play. And that's what like really does guide you. And you're not even realizing that it's happening. Like there's so many things that I look back on now that I'm like, oh, that was the universe doing this for me or that for me. But I think before we keep speaking too much, let's like give them quick definitions of like understanding the universe's energy. Like, what do we mean by the universe specifically sometimes?
Hmm.
Like, and like Taylor said, like you can exchange this word for whatever feels comfortable to you, like the whatever the higher power is. But the spiritual perspective of the universe really is like a higher power, a collective energy or a divine energy that we are all part of. There's also the scientific perspective, which is like that's cold hard fucking facts. And the universe as the vast, like interconnected, like web in the freaking universe. Like I don't know how else to explain that, but it's like where quantum physics like really shows up and it's like I don't know, it's literally just science. And then there's also what the philosophical side, and not
Mhm,
like I mean, I for sure skipped a lot of that when I went to college, when I had to take those classes, philosophy classes, wasn't super thrilled, but now it's funny that I'm back on this journey, like, I'm learning about it all over again. It's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember learning about these," and those are just, like, the meanings and the purpose and the connection that, like, helps tie individual lives or decisions together, and, like, all of that does really kind of make that collective, like, universal energy, like, the spiritual, the scientific, and the philosophical, I think. Is there, like, a
mhm.
piece that you feel like is also part of it that maybe I missed?
Um, I think just like basic psychology of your brain goes into it. Like everybody wants to believe in something. That's why religion is such like a big thing for people and why people give up so much for religions because you
Yeah.
want to believe in
Believe.
something bigger than yourself. And so I think just like the basic human needs is believing in
Yeah, some
something
like
higher.
trying to have, like, a connection to something that you can hold on to, because life is so crazy and hard,
Mhm.
honestly, and, like, you also, like as humans, we want explanations for stuff,
Yes.
we can't like, there's so many people that can't even handle the concept of, like, something happening by chance. They have to just know,
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I asked God for this and God gave it," or something, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
they can't like, they really have to give it a label, so I think that that would for sure play into it too. I would say like for me, how the universe is in my life, I feel like it comes down to like energies, um, my emotional state, my like real life impacts, my intuition. But I feel like a lot of it for me has always been like the law of attraction and energies type stuff. Like I can feel and read energies really, really easily, and I always have been. And I think that's what's always been like my core landing spot there that makes me feel safe of like, okay, I do actually believe in this because I believe so heavily in like the law of attraction and energies at play.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
definitely agree with that for you. I think too, like the exchanging energies with other people resonates really high for me because I've always had that need to help other people, no matter what it
Mhm.
was. Like, even when I was little, I've always had that need and like that push to help other people. So I think that like, I don't know, karmic exchange, I guess I would
Yeah.
call it, really is a high point for me as well.
I said that like my thing is like energies and like those types of vibrational things, but I feel like for yours is also like weird spiritual signs. Like, I don't know, what would you say like how the universe influences your life? How do you feel like it shows up in your life?
Oh my god, it shows up every day,
I know it's insane
honestly.
for you.
I think it's because I'm so heavily on this journey of, like, figuring out the death thing for me, like, I know that Shelby and I have talked about this, that death is, like, a thought that's on my mind all the time because I'm so scared about it, and ever since my dad died, I feel like he's from the other side trying to show me like you don't have to be afraid, you don't have to do this, like there is something more out here. I feel like he's been so heavily trying to do that. So yeah, I feel like I get signs every day. I feel like the universe is there for me every day. I see dragonflies every single day, whether if they're real dragonflies or if I hear the word dragonfly or if I see it like on social media or just like a picture of it. Every single day, I see some shape, way, shape, or form of a dragonfly.
Yeah.
And that is like the universe is saying to me that, like, you're good, you're protected, everything is fine. And if I was to ever not see a dragonfly, I would be like, what's going on? Like, is the world ending? Does the universe hate me? Like, what's going on? Because it's
Yeah.
been like 2 solid years of me seeing a dragonfly every single day. So I'd say that's my biggest sign.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of angel numbers daily.
So that's what before you keep going,
Mhm,
I would say that yours are synchronicities. So let's tell them what synchronicity means so that while you keep talking about these, which is exactly what yours are, they actually
mhm,
get it. And it really is like these meaningful coincidences that are guiding her or reminding her that like the universe is at play or that there's someone or something there like guiding her. Like they appear and they're linked to like something bigger and it's not just by chance necessarily. So the repeating numbers is a huge thing, like angel numbers, running into people that you were just thinking about, or like seeing these messages, which are like dragonflies. I think those are like the huge ones for you. I don't know if there's any others that you really have shared much else about. Is there other synchronicities that you feel like? I think those are like your
Um,
main ones.
no, those are definitely my main ones. Like, there's been times like old cars remind me a lot of my dad, and so there's been times when, like, I'm not paying attention that there will be, like, an old car because 'cause they're so flashy and loud and bright colors. So if I'm
Mhm.
really not paying attention, which just hasn't happened for a while because I've really started paying attention, but there'll just be, like, a really bright old car, and those came in times that, like, I really, really needed them. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say for me, like my synchronicities really are like my tarot cards or something like that. That's always when I feel like I'm receiving a message that answers a question or
Mhm,
explains like how I've been feeling. It'll be like the monthly tarot readings that I get, or random ones I see, or a random like feeling I get to read my cards. That's when I feel like I have synchronicities. I don't feel like I have like a ton of other like signs. I do see angel numbers a lot though too.
mhm.
But
I
yeah.
feel like when you are, like, paying attention, angel numbers are the easiest things.
Yeah.
And the podcast that we listen to, oh, sorry, I have hiccups. The podcast that we listened to, AG University, she talked about when you see an angel number, pause and like get on a note in your phone. That's because that's the easiest thing to grab for. And like write down what you're thinking about or what you were doing when you saw that angel number. And that helps you figure things out like a little bit more because angel numbers really are the universes or the spirit guides or your angels. Like the easiest way that they can communicate with you is through angel numbers. So I started doing that, and that's when I really started noticing like how I was feeling or what I was thinking about or who it could be that was trying to communicate with me. So I highly recommend doing that if you don't.
Yeah, like, and she also mentioned, which I just like just started doing, is like stopping and like before you dive into all that too, like thanking the universe or your spirit guides or whoever you want to thank for sending you that, like, hey, this is an angel number, like thanking the universe for like this sign. And that's something I'm trying to do now because I was always just like manifesting a fuck ton of shit, like now's my time to manifest all my money in my life. And I was like, wait,
Mhm,
I need to thank the universe first. And I haven't done the whole like thought pattern thing because I feel like my thoughts, I every time I've tried, I can't even think about what I was thinking about. I'm like, I feel like my brain had zero thoughts. And so for me, I take those as like a sign of like I'm on my right path. So like if I wasn't receiving those, it's just like you were saying, if you weren't gonna see
mhm,
a dragonfly or something, you'd be like, uh-oh, what's wrong? That's
mhm,
how I feel with like angel numbers. If I stopped seeing them, I'd be like, oh, I'm off my path for sure.
mhm, mhm. And I really like also want to point out these things can mean whatever you want them to mean. Like,
Yeah.
dragonfly may not be my dad visiting me, but I mean, I feel like it definitely is. But if I say that, other people might be like, oh, that's just a coincidence, or that could be something else. Like, dragonflies mean something else, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But this is what I feel and what I choose to believe in. So, angel
Mhm.
numbers to us can mean something completely different for us than they do for you. So, go
Yeah.
based off of what you feel it means for you.
Well, yeah, and like you need to recognize these signs for what they are and like stay open and aware. Like I really would encourage you to be like open to it being a sign or a message from whatever it is that you believe in. And they can come in any form. They can be dreams, they can be random encounters, they can be your intuition, a gut feeling. Like they aren't just these things that we're saying. It's just be open to it, start paying attention to it, open yourself up to it. And I think that's when you really start to notice it and receive them more often for sure. And you
Mhm,
can interpret them however you want. Like these signs are open to you and you personally because it's your journey, but it's about trusting yourself, noticing the patterns in your life that are pointing you in a direction, noticing like good signs, bad feelings, good feelings, like that's for you to determine. And like, yeah, I don't know, like it's your journey, but not like Wally was always like a big like oh, it's just a coincidence, you're just woo woo, you're just this and that. And I think that like that's fine, but that just tells me like he's not open to the thought of the universe or a higher power or believing in something, and that's okay if he believes that. I think it's sad for him,
Mhm, mhm.
but, like, that's what he chooses to believe, and that's fine. It just tells me, like, wow, I have to do the manifesting for both of us now. But he's getting there. He's slowly, like, starting to be like, wow, okay, like, my mindset and how I, like, am open to these things or not open to these things really does impact the path of my life, really.
Mhm. I want to piggyback off of that because Tony recently, we were talking about something and he brought up my dad. And because this has have been a heavy topic in our house because I've been going through so much therapy about things with my dad. And he was like, I told your dad right before he died, like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks before he died, like, when you die, I want you to just make me laugh and like fuck around with me. I don't want you to like send me like meaningful signs. Like, I just, when I'm having weird things happen and I'm laughing, I want to know that that was you. And so last night, because I read Tony's cards and they were so silly and so just hilarious. And last night before bed, he's like, those cards for sure came from your dad. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, because I told your dad to just like fuck around with me and make me laugh. And he's like, that was him. And I was like, oh my
That's
gosh,
crazy.
you're probably right. And so then he started going through like all these things that have happened in the last few weeks that he's like, and this time I think it was him, and this time I think it was him. Like, I didn't think I was getting visited from him, but I think I am. And as he was like going through it, I was like, I think you're actually right. Like, that
Yeah.
actually does sound right. So it's
It
just
is.
funny, like when you really start believing in stuff, you do start to notice
Yeah,
stuff.
and it honestly is like it takes being around people like you and I too for people to really be open to it because if you aren't around people that are having these conversations or exploring these paths, you really it's not that easy, especially if you're not religious,
Mhm.
to have something like these synchronicities that are like at play in your life and learning how to recognize them. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd have anything else to say about synchronicities. Do
I
you?
think the last thing that I would just have to say is this all goes into mindfulness. Like, if you're not paying attention, you will miss these things because they are
Mhm.
subtle. Like, think of a dragonfly. It's so subtle. And especially if I'm not seeing a real one, like, I have to be present in my moment in order to see it. So I think that's just the biggest thing is if you are go, 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 and you don't ever stop and like take a second or pay attention to the things around you, you will never ever see synchronicities ever.
For sure. Like I always notice when I'm like super busy, super maxed out, I'm not in a good place. I will notice my lack of spirituality and my lack of like signs from the universe, my intuition, everything almost like turns off. Like the battery is dead and I have to like recharge my battery and get myself back into it. Otherwise, like I'm not getting those signs from the universe. I'm not having like my intuition guide me. My intuition guiding me is like one of my biggest things that I've noticed with the universe is like energy and my intuition. Like that's what guides me. That's what tells me someone's a good person to be around, bad person to be around, or what decisions I should make. Like it's huge for me and it really makes my life difficult when it goes away.
Yeah, it's so true.
um I want to talk a little bit about like trusting the process and like overcoming like the being like a Tony or a Wally in these situations. But before we do that, I think we should talk about manifesting and like the law of attraction because I think that's like the biggest and easiest way that people can start also tuning into the universe and like really starting to get comfortable with it. It's such an easy thing. And the law of attraction, it's not like a big woo thing. It's like an actual like scientific method.
We develop that hypothesis and do all the things. I think you will be able to talk about this a lot more easier than I will. I think just basically, like, I have a hard time with manifesting for I don't really know why. I really need to dive in and like figure out why I have a harder time with manifesting. But really, just like the thing that I try to live my life by is what you put out, you get back. So I just try to put out that good stuff and
Mhm.
I will hopefully get it back. And I think that goes in with like my manifesting is that I just put out good things.
Yeah, and so manifesting really is just like the process of putting your wants, your wishes, your desires into reality through a thought or through a direct like saying or phrase or emotion or action. So for me, my manifesting is always like I'm abundantly wealthy. I'm a magnet for success, like because that's where I'm headed in my path, and that's like where I'm trying to keep staying aligned is like bringing these good things into me. Manifestation can be you have this new house. It comes back to what we've talked about a lot on the podcast with our Rachel Hollis journal that we would do, where it's like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are the goals you want to have? Like, and we would write down like those things. That's a form of manifesting, like saying, I drive a badass Range Rover. That's been on mine forever because that's me manifesting. One day I'm driving this Range Rover. And I used to have, I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was something about like I own my dream house or something like that. And like then I crossed it off when I got this house, like so whatever it is, it's just a phrase, a thought, whatever you want it to be. When I see my angel numbers, that's what I'm manifesting a lot. Um, we have this app, it's called Superhuman, and they have a form of manifesting on there, but they call it activations. And it really is just like having a focused thought, really like thinking about your future, channeling the kind of life you want to have. And that is also a form of manifestation too.
Mhm.
But what I think Taylor's version of is really the law of attraction. Yours is what you put out is going to come back to you. And that principle really is like an attraction. Like what you focus on expands. What you put out there is going to come back in more forms than one. It's like, what is it in the church? Is it being a good Samaritan or something? Was that what it was that we were
I
taught?
think so. Yeah, I think
It's
so.
something like that, but I feel like that's also the same thing, like you're focusing on being a good person, on abundance and love or success, like whatever it is, and you're going to draw those things into your life. If you focus on negative things and complaining about how terrible your life is and how shitty this is and how whatever negative energy will come back to you. Like what you put
Mhm.
out, what thoughts you put out, good or bad, you're going to receive that same type of thought in worse forms or better forms, like based off of which energy you're channeling. And that's I don't know what else like to say about it. Like it's so simple to me, but some people really have a hard
Struggle
time
with them.
with being positive. Like I have two sisters specifically that struggle massively with the thought or concept of like their attitude or their mindset, and like the more they keep speaking about it and getting pissed about it and letting it get their energy down is only making it worse. Like it just seems to like pile on them at that point. And I keep being like, well, if you change your shitty attitude and like focus on the good, like gratitude really comes into that for sure. Like
Mhm.
if you have that negative mindset and you have that negative energy that you're putting out there, then if you don't have gratitude, then you're not going to attract anything good. You're just attracting the bad.
Yes. Judy the witch actually said something to me one time. We were talking about my leg, and she was like, do you like do Reiki on your leg? Do you like meditate with your leg? Blah, blah. And I was like, yes, I do. And she's like, tell me what you are saying when you are doing these things. And I like said something like, please heal or please heal soon. And she was like, change the way that you're saying it and say, thank you so much for healing, and just keep it so simple like
Yeah, as
that.
if it's already done.
Yes, and that just really like even though we've learned this before and like with the 10 things and stuff, we say things as if they've already happened. It really like I don't know, stuck out to me so much more. So I've been trying to change my verbiage when I'm doing things of like thank
Mhm.
you for healing or thank you for already doing this or thank you for already doing this. So if you do struggle with that, try approaching it from that different way of like gratitude, like Shelby said, gratitude in it already happening and see how that changes for you.
Yeah, like a big thing when the activations on that superhuman app that I just talked about is like where you are meeting yourself at like a positive, grateful state of like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have this job, or whatever it is that you have been like thinking about in your activation, where you're like really putting out there like, I'm so grateful that I have this life that I manifested, like whatever it is, and so
Mhm.
I think that it's really crucial to think of it as if it's already happened for sure. That I would say is a huge factor. But when it comes to like the law of attraction too, like you want to attract something that's positive, not something negative. And I was actually just thinking while you were speaking about the witch, I also feel like it's a synchronicity how often, like, I'll tell you something and then, like, days later, the witch will tell you something or
I
someone
know.
else will tell you something. I'll be
I
like
know,
I'll
it's so
text you and be
weird.
like, "Hey, you should do this," or "What about this?" And then,
Uh,
like, that to me, again, would be a synchronicity, like, the universe, like, confirming, like, "You should actually explore this," or something like that. Like,
mhm.
that's really cool now that I think about it.
Yeah, it is. Another thing that I want to say about the law of attraction, to simplify it even more, if you do struggle with this concept, think about if when you wake up in the morning, you wake up in a shitty mood and everything starts going wrong. You spill toothpaste on your shirt, you stub your toe, you break a glass, like whatever it is. And then your whole day is shitty and like it's just a bad day. And it started just with one small thing in the morning. If you changed after that one small bad thing happened in the morning, if you change your mindset of like, this is going to be a good day, things are going to go right, blah, 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 that completely shifts. So to simplify it even more, change your mindset, I would
Yeah,
say.
that's actually a good example of this too would be when I was at my old job. And it was like getting to the point where I was having such bad anxiety going to work. I hated showing up for work. I'd get the Sunday scaries. I was having like serious, serious stress and anxiety. And it was like every day showing up to work, and I'd be like, God, it's like so fucking hard to keep doing this. And I remember one day, like, I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or like a thought just came into me from like Rachel Hollis. Think I was listening to her podcast maybe, and she talked about how, like, if you need to change your energy or change your mood, just like immediately tell yourself, like, I'm gonna have a good day, or this is gonna go great. Like, if you don't want to go to a family dinner or something like that, like change your tone going into it. And I remember like one morning waking up being like, already starting to feel that droom or doom and dread, and like I don't want to go to work. And I was like, I'm gonna stop it right now. I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna have a great day. It's gonna be an amazing day. I'm gonna have good coffee at work. It's gonna be sunny. It's not like all these things. I just kind of like dreamed up this day of how it would be. And for sure, like, things started going wrong at work that day, and I was immediately just like, "It's fine. I'm having a good day." And my energy, like, handled it so much better. My mindset handled it so much better, and I was able to, like, get through the day in, like, a positive note. The other thing that she also said helps when you're in a funk like this too is to take a different route to work or home
Mhm.
from work, or don't drive the same roads to take your kids to school and daycare. Like, get yourself out of the rut that you're in by taking different paths, and then that also adds, like, it will enhance like the good energy for you, I guess.
I love that. If you don't set intentions for your day. I firmly believe in this. Whether you do like a full meditation in the morning or breath work or an activation, just take 30 seconds and set an intention for your day every morning. And that will help so, so much to set an
I
intention.
actually used to do this when I was like really on the struggle bus, and I stopped, and I should get back to it. I think what I'll do is I'll probably like set a reminder on my phone because I love reminders. If you don't use the reminders app on your phone, you're crazy. But I feel like I'll just set it for like around the time when I'm getting ready. So it goes off, and like and it'll be like set your intention, and I'll like stop for a second and just be like whatever it is. Cause otherwise I
Mhm.
won't build that habit back up. Cause it is hard to like wake up if you're not already doing these things
It is, yeah.
to wake up and like have that thought. You're already thinking of like all the millions of things that you have to accomplish.
Yeah, and I love setting intentions because if something does go wrong throughout the day, or if you're feeling run down, or if you're feeling blah, you can take a second, take a big breath, remind yourself of the intention, and it's like an immediate energetic shift. Like if you've been to a yoga class before, and if the instructor says like halfway through class, like says what the intention was for the class or come back to your intention. It's seriously like a really quick way to trick your brain and like change your energy level without even realizing that you're really doing it. So I
Mhm.
really believe in intention setting.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I have steps for you guys for manifesting. Taylor, well, I don't know. I thought she'd be like the manifesting queen because she's like a yogi, but for some reason, I guess she's not. So if I have anything that I miss on this, you add it, because now that
Okay.
I'm realizing this, I didn't realize you weren't like big into manifesting. The steps I wrote down for manifesting is visualize. So first you need to describe how to create a clear image of what it is that you actually want. Like visualize yourself, see it, feel it, experience it, like close your eyes and like build whatever it is that you're trying, like your desired outcome. Like we said, as if it already happened. And then affirmation, talk about the power of the positive affirmation and how you can really align your mind with that goal that you visualize. So like how can you talk about it in that way? And then acting on it, you need to really start to act on the thing that you're wanting. So if you're going to manifest something, it doesn't mean it just falls into your lap. It means you actually have to take actions. So it's not just about thinking positive, it's about also making moves in that direction to bring you closer to that goal. So when I'm manifesting certain things right now, like I'm like, okay, that means I can't be lazy and I still need to take action to get me to that point. Because if I'm sitting at my job doing my W-2 job and doing the same thing over and over again, I'm not actually taking any actions that's getting me towards those things that I'm manifesting. I have to still take steps and put in extra work. And then the last thing I have as a step is that you need to let go of like the outcome, like your expectation of the outcome, because just because you're manifesting something does not mean that's going to happen. What it really comes down to is you're going to start manifesting this dream, this goal, this life, whatever it is that you're wanting, and the universe is going to help guide you and bring different opportunities into your way, that into your path that like you didn't even maybe know were part of your path or something that you wanted. So don't get so attached to this like specific thing that you're manifesting, like this outcome that you expected, because the universe is going to deliver what you need at the right time in the right way, and it could be something completely different. Like I've always had one on my list of like owning a wine label or a vineyard. I kind of go back and forth between them, and really at the end of the day I'm manifesting that because I want wine in my life to some level that's like something exciting like that, something that's like different. I don't know what it is because I still don't have that clear vision, but I know I want something cool. I think it'd be dope to have my own wine. I think it'd be dope to have my own vineyard. Like, I don't know what it is, but I believe that the universe is going to bring that to me. Maybe it's a partnership someday with like some wine company. I have no idea, but I've had to detach from the outcome to see like just what the universe is going to bring to me, you know? So those are, let me check. Yeah, those are my only steps.
I would say I would add on to that, trust the process,
Yeah.
because what you think it may look like, it may be completely different. And I'm going to use myself as an example because you guys have been on this whole journey with me. You've heard multiple podcast episodes when Shelby told me, like, I don't see you as a school teacher. I just don't see it. And a big part of myself didn't see that either. And the fact that my life completely shifted and I'm going to still be teaching people, but not in a school setting, in a therapy setting, that as soon as I changed to that, it was like a piece of my heart opened, and it was kind of felt like the universe kind of being like, finally, like you caught on, you understand why we led you down this crazy path. And it felt
Mhm.
so comfortable and so meant to be, but it was not what I thought it would be. And in my journal, I had been writing, I am an amazing teacher. I'm an amazing teacher. I've been writing that for years and years and years. And I'm still going to be an amazing teacher, just in a different setting. So,
Mhm.
really trusting the things that are presented to you, trusting in yourself, trusting in your gut feelings, trusting in your friends. However you need to trust because your manifestations may look different than you think they
For
look.
sure. And that's actually perfect because that was like our next thing that I wanted to talk about was like trusting the process and overcoming like your fears or your doubts or like giving up hope on it. I think with trusting the process too, the biggest thing with manifesting or chasing this stuff or wanting the universe to guide you and align you is like you have to trust that things are going to unfold as they should, even if it's not immediate, even if it's not obvious, even if it's not like happening the second you start changing your energy frequency, you know, like you really need to trust that things will happen when they're supposed to happen. And I think my intuition is also something that I use with this one too, where if it feels forced, that's telling me that the universe, like whatever it is I'm trying to force, it's not for me right now. And if I keep forcing it, I'm going to get off course. I'm going to take a path that is gonna have to, I'm gonna have to eventually get back to my path. So I use my intuition to help me with that. Of like, maybe I thought I should get this right now and it seemed really exciting and perfect in the moment and it didn't happen. And then I'm like, wait, it needs to happen. So I push, push, push. And it's like anything that's meant for me should be easy. It should just naturally feel good. It should keep my energy levels high. It should make me feel happy and aligned, and it shouldn't make me feel desperate and like I am deserving of it or owed it right now. So if it's not immediately obvious or unfolding exactly as you wanted, like just trust the process. Calm down, settle, just know the universe still wants you in whatever situation you're in a little bit longer. Maybe you haven't learned the lesson you needed to learn yet, or maybe
Mhm.
something else is still needing to happen. Like maybe you thought it was closed and that chapter's not closed yet. Like, so just really follow the universe's guidance, honestly. Like, let it guide you, not you guide the universe.
Mhm. Really jump into things with blind faith. Again, using myself as the example, it's also not meant to be easy. Like, I was a semester in student teaching away from having my degree. Like, I was so close to being done, and that was really, really fucking hard to walk away from.
Mhm,
I had a hard time with it because it was something I was quitting when I was so close to being done. And I could have pushed through and I could have finished and I would have been a great school teacher. I know that. But my heart would have never been 100% in it. But it was not easy to change and essentially, in a lot of ways, start over.
mhm.
And so having that blind faith of like, this is not actually for me, and I'm going to trust that this is for me, and trust that even if it doesn't work out me being a therapist and I may have to go back the teaching route, I'm going to trust that this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it was as soon as I released that control and really jumped in with both feet that I had that feeling in my heart of like, this is exactly what is supposed to happen. So
Yeah,
sometimes it is really, really hard,
yeah.
but it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you really do have to surrender control and allow
Mhm,
the universe to work its magic. It doesn't mean that you're giving up. It doesn't mean that you're a quitter, but you're letting go of the control that you're trying to have over it, and you're letting go of the anxiety about how things are happening or should happen. So your anxiety is going to come into play, and you're going to feel like a quitter, and you're going to feel like you're giving up or you believed in some false thing. Like
mhm.
it doesn't mean any of that. It just means you're surrendering to letting it happen how it needs to happen rather than sitting in those like not good energy frequencies, really.
Yes, and
Um,
your anxiety, sorry, your
no, go ahead.
anxiety and your brain are going to fight against this. It's
Yeah.
like the way that I can describe it, because it makes sense for me, which it may not make sense for you guys, but when you're trying to meditate and your brain is just going, 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 in yoga we call it your monkey brain, that your brain just goes and goes and goes and it won't stop. That's kind of how it felt for me. If my brain and my anxiety was like, you are such a worthless piece of shit. Like, you are almost done. You are a quitter. You're a failure. You can't do this. This new journey is going to be too hard. So really, like, it is going to feel like a huge roadblock.
Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say is like with those anxieties and that like fear of like letting go of control, it really comes down to like the doubts that you have. Like there's going to be common doubts and feelings that you're going to have. You're going to feel like a failure. You're going to feel impatient. You're going to feel disconnected. You're going to feel unsettled, or maybe you're making a wrong decision. And you really do have to just stay positive and keep maintaining that positive mindset, keep manifesting, do your daily affirmations, like your gratitude, surrounding yourself with uplifting people. Like you have to keep in that positive, energetic area. Otherwise, you're going to like end up making a decision that you probably aren't supposed to be on, or you're going to keep forcing something and it's going to be really hard. And you're like, you were struggling so much in school. Like you were constantly like being hit with like, you're not passing this math test, you're not passing this math test, like, and you hated it and your
Mhm.
energy was so low. And like that was again, like you trying to push something forward that the universe is like, girl, we're blocking this for a reason.
Mhm. 100%,
But you
100%.
had to learn, like you had to embrace that uncertainty. You had to be like, okay, like I'm close and I could be done and I forced this situation, but maybe it's not going to work out, maybe it will, but you really had to like just embrace it and let it go and start something new. And then that's when you as you started doing it, were able to feel this is where I'm supposed to be, this is what I'm supposed to be
Mhm.
doing. And it led you to an unexpected place for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
100%.
I think that those really come like it trusting everything that we're talking about with the universe. Like you really have to trust it, believe in it, let go of that control, let go of like the negative self-talk and the stress and the anxiety that you feel of like, why isn't it happening now? What like whatever it is that you feel and just settle in it and be present. A lot of the times my cards will tell me like, take a breath, be present. Like, and it's
Mhm.
because I'm in that forward thinking so often that I'm like, but I've been manifesting it. I'm like living here in my brain. Like, why aren't we here yet? And I have to just be like, girl, you're missing all the good that's around you right now. Like, you're missing out on a great life because you're trying to just be in that future life. And
Mhm.
that that's something I always have to like come back to is like be present, like take a beat. It's fine.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
The last thing I have is like some tips for you guys of like which we've already been giving a bunch of tips. You better been taking notes. Just kidding. um, but just like some tips to help you like start channeling that. I wouldn't say like tarot cards would be an immediate start. I think that comes like as you get in there. But if you could go get like a tarot card pulling or start like there's some that are on the internet that are really great. Like there's one for your sun signs that we always do. They're amazing if you believe in your horoscope and those types of things. That's like a good place to start like channeling some energy of like how's this next month for me going to go. A daily practice, Taylor would love them, meditation.
Mhm.
Or mindfulness. I also feel like mindfulness really plays into like something that aligns you with whatever higher power it is that you believe in. Journaling has been a huge one for me. That's a daily practice that I think like really keeps me connected and grounded and present. And I have actually what I've noticed on days that I don't get to journal, like my mindset feels totally off for sure. Like I just didn't have that moment to like be mindful really.
Mhm.
Um I think those would be the only daily ones I can think of. What are daily ones that you would
Um,
add?
Daily ones for me are exercising. Like, exercising is such, if you have anxiety,
Moving your
like
body.
myself, um, if you're not exercising daily, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. I can
Mhm,
feel my anxiety levels heighten when I'm not exercising every day. So that is something, it's I don't use my phone when I'm exercising. I actually have put it like far away. I used to keep it by me, but now I would always catch myself checking it or reading text. So I put it far
mhm.
away. So it's kind of like a double mindfulness and move my body, release that energy. So that one is a really, really big one for me. I have a lot of revelations. I have a lot of time to think about things. I have a lot of processing time when I'm exercising.
Yeah, I would say too, I forgot to add like visualization, like a vision board or like words of affirmation written somewhere, like something that keeps something in your mental mind, like image, like it's in your mind's eye at that point because you're seeing it constantly. It keeps your goals
Mhm,
at the top of your mind and your manifestation like in your face.
mhm.
Vision boards, huge thing. Still need to get mine from the cleaning lady, dropping it behind my cupboard. It's so annoying. But yeah, I think too, the other things that I would say that aren't necessarily daily, but just like that mindset shift, that positive thinking, the affirmations, I'm open to these things and trusting these things, like having a positive spin or openness to what it is that you're thinking and saying and like having that mindset shift will be huge. Like if you can really start taking that negative self-talk away and speak to yourself and to the universe or whatever it is that you believe in that positive and open mindset, you really will start to feel something different. I truly believe your energy will change, your mind will change. And I think the last thing I would say too is like engaging with people that are your tribe that are aligned with these things. Like discuss these things with people around you. And if they're not into it, like don't let that tell you that's a bad sign. Maybe that just means those people aren't for you, or you need to keep speaking about it so that they can also be more open to it. Like have that community and that group or an event or something that connects you to what it is that you're trying to believe in and align with because you just need to have a tribe of people that are into it. Like you can't just do this by yourself. No one should be going through life by themselves anyways, but having a strong group of people can really uplift and enforce that for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, pay attention to who you're surrounding yourself with. Um, Even if you can't help it, like if it's coworkers or something, we've had a really, really, really trying few weeks at work. It's been everybody's in like mental health crises. It's been really hard. And finally, a few days ago, I said to people, to my coworkers, I was like, listen, you guys, we're making this worse for ourselves because every patient before we go in, we're like, like just having this attitude and having this really, really low vibration. And we need to stop. Like, it's making it hard to come into work. It's making it harder than it already is. We're not showing up as our best selves for our patients. Like, we have to stop this. And two providers were like, thank you so much for saying that. Like, that was kind of like what we needed to hear. Like, we are being negative. We are not being our best selves. So thank you for saying that. So even if like you can't help the people that you see every day, putting that vibrational bubble around yourself of good energy will really help. And kind of like what Shelby said too, like say things out loud. It's very uncomfortable for me to be confrontational. Not even that I think that was confrontational, but kind of like it was really stressful for me, but it was like becoming just such like a hard negative thing. And so speaking things out loud, paying attention to who you're surrounding yourself with. If you have a friend that is constantly negative and constantly down in the dumps and doesn't do anything to fix it, maybe it's time to end that friendship if you're wanting a higher life. Like it
Mhm.
sucks, but
Yeah. And like you can for sure tell them like, hey, your energy and like your mindset's been really hard for me. Like everyone's struggling with their own mental state anyways. And like
mhm.
letting them know like I'm not in a place where I want to be hearing this all the time. Like sure I want to be here for as a friend, but if this isn't something that you can change around me, like I need to have like a wall or a boundary up and that will help them either snap out of it because maybe they didn't realize they were complaining or being so negative, or it helps you know like okay this is just who they are and maybe I do need to distance myself. I would also add social media, surround your social
Mhm.
media with like something that's more positive and vibrational like this, so follow pages that have things like this that talk about like the moon and energies and all of this stuff that you're trying to really align with the universe. There's so many um what are they called? I can't think of them right now. They're coaches, mindset coaches, life coaches,
Lifestyle,
life
yeah.
coaches.
Mhm.
There's so many life coaches now that are like public on social media and they always just post like the most uplifting things. Like follow pages that help align you with where it is. Like follow pages that are aligned with your goals. So if you wanted to do a certain job or you wanted to have a certain house or whatever, start focusing on those things in a positive way. Follow real estate pages where you can see houses that are like yours that you want to manifest, but like don't think of it as like, oh my God, my house sucks. I just want this house. Think of it as like, wow, I can't wait till I'm in one of these houses soon. Like, oh my God, like see them as like an exciting one day I'm gonna be here or I'm about to have one kind of mindset, and like just surround yourself with those things. So if you're engaging in bad friendships or people around you or social media things, like you're going to keep attracting that same vibration.
Yes, for sure. And also, this makes me uncomfortable, but I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit. My moon circles have been so life changing for not only me, but for people. And I have seen that. So if you are local, doing that monthly or listening to them monthly, because they'll be like my little special every month, because I give you certain things to focus on every month. So it's kind of like an intention slash manifestation for the next month. We talk about the energy that the full moon is bringing, and it's also just like a beautiful time of release. So finding that type of a thing that you can do monthly that keeps you focused is so helpful.
Yeah. I think too, like with the power of the universe, like you really do need to start believing in like the moon and the sun and the stars and like all of that energetic force that's happening up in the universe because there's so much that's truly tied to it.
Mhm.
And if you feel skeptical about it or you think it's weird, like really just do some research, do some Google searches of like why people do this around the full moon or whatever, and like just read some stuff for yourself because I think it could really open your mind. And if you're ever curious about stuff, like seriously, just Google it. Google has so much information to help you. Like you can even say like I don't know, the dumbest things that you feel scared. It would be like a hashtag asking for a friend. If you feel too scared to like ask somebody, just Google it and start learning for yourself. And Taylor also like had an app called I Am, and it's like
Mhm.
an affirmation app. And I've noticed that really helps my mindset like stay positive when I'm feeling down and keep like I think that like helps me have like a higher vibration a lot of the times because it sends you like these affirmations throughout the day of just like positive energy that like reminders. And I think things like that are huge. And that superhuman app that I mentioned, like find things that you can really start aligning yourself with to keep you on this path of like I'm open and aligned to the universe. And I really believe you'll like start to, I don't know, your life will start to pivot.
Yeah. The I Am, app, I still have it, and mine, I was like as soon as you said that, I was like, "I'm just gonna see what my affirmation says because 'cause I'm not wearing my Apple Watch today," but it's I am evolving. So this app is really
Mm,
great. I really love it.
yeah. It's just nice to like I'll be busy and hectic at work and there's things will come up. It's funny that you say that because I just got a notification for my eye like 3 minutes ago. That's what
Mhm.
reminded me that I was like, oh, I need to mention this app. And mine says, I am doing my very best.
Oh,
So they really are
cute.
just like little messages that sometimes you're just like, wow, I actually really needed to hear that and think about
Mhm.
that. But really surrounding yourself in this kind of stuff really will open your mind and start shifting things for you. And if you have certain experiences that you would like to share with us or talk about, like we're totally down for that. Like send us a DM, or if you have questions about any of it or you're feeling stuck about something and want like more advice, like for sure, please just like reach out to us. Like we would love to talk to you about it.
Yeah, 100%. I love, love, love to hear about these things, so
Yeah,
reach
for
out.
sure. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. A couple things before we do our asking for a friend. If you listen to our podcast on Apple or Spotify, we have this new feature that you can see at the top of our episode bios. So each time a new episode comes out, there's like this little link looking thing. And it's basically giving you a chance to like enter our group chat, is basically what it says, but it sends us like messages about the episode. So if you ever feel inclined to like as you're listening be like, "Oh my god, I want to say this about something you just said." Click on that link in the bio and it'll send us like this message. So we're trying it out. It's like a new feature that our podcast, what was that platform be called? I don't know.
Buzzsprout, like,
Yeah, but like what would it be? I don't know.
um,
It's basically
I
what
don't know.
hosts, oh, it's our podcast host. That's what it's called. Basically that's a new feature that they have and so I really wanted to try it. So if you're ever curious or want to say something because you were like saying something that you have a comment on, like click on that and it will like send it'll go to your text messages and it like sends a text message. So that would be super cool. And then the other thing I was gonna say is we are switching up our asking for a friend segment this season, and we really want to start posting the asking for a friend question prior to recording and have you guys give your opinions too. And we'll share some of your guys' opinions on the episode. So we'll still read the question while we're doing the episode. We'll share some of your guys' inputs that you say, like your answers. And then we'll obviously give our input. But we want to start sharing more of like your guys' input because you guys will message us after. And it's so funny hearing the different perspectives. So that's something new we're going to be doing. So this week we aren't doing that because we've been busy and haven't prepared for posting our question. But in the future on our Instagram stories, we will start posting the question that we're going to answer on the next episode. And we would love it if you guys participated for sure.
Yeah, so make sure you're following us on Instagram.
Yes. And the question that we're going to answer today, hashtag asking for a friend, comes from me because I recently was on an airplane. And I was watching Sex in the City, binge watching it really, and there are so many sex scenes that are like happening. And my question really comes down to like, are we bothered by people doing this on an airplane around us, or are like we all uncomfortable? Because there were so many times where I felt so uncomfortable, so stressed, but then also like, fuck it, like I can watch whatever I want. But then I was like, how would I feel if I was like, what if there was like a little boy sitting behind me? And why are these shows on airplanes for everyone to see? You know, like I was just so many questions and yeah, I need to know your input.
Yeah, I also need to know the input because I feel the same as you. Like one time I was watching Harold and Kumar go to White Castle on an airplane and I forgot there's like a boob scene, like a flashing scene in there. And I did have a teenage boy behind me. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that this was in here. So I was literally like trying to cover my screen of like this 12-year-old cannot see these tits right now. And I
Oh
was
my.
really stressed. And I don't know because you can so clearly see other people's screens on airplanes.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't
like
know.
my daughter was next to me. Like I'm watching this next to her. She's watching her own stuff, but like I'm sure sometimes she would glance over and see it. And I mean, she just knows like that's just like life, you know, like I don't
Mhm,
keep her hidden from stuff, but she knows like I'm not gonna stare.
mhm.
But I was just like, I wonder if people are like judging me.
But, you know, it could also be a Utah thing because Utah is so weird about, like,
Yeah,
any sort of sexuality, so maybe other s people from other states, like,
it's not as
literally don't
weird.
care, and we're just like,
Yeah.
oh, because 'cause we're from Utah and, like, you're not even supposed to say the word sex, like, sex happens,
I
but
mean,
people aren't
I
supposed to know
still
about
say
it.
S.
Yeah. So if you listen from other states, please chime in on this because I really need to know because all the movies that I watch on airplanes are probably inappropriate for other
Oh
people to.
yeah, for sure. Like, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It could be a Utah thing.
Yeah, because we've been so conditioned to like not ever talk about sex or watch sex or any of that. But like, do other
But
states
yeah,
feel this
like
way?
I want to watch movies and like there's some risque scenes in movies a lot. And it's like, that's not my fault. This is a good movie. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. And also though, if you're like watching people's screens, get out of here. Like stop being so
Literally.
nosy. Watch your own screen.
Yeah. I mean, also there are times where I'm for sure checking out what other people are doing, but I don't know. I'm just curious. We will definitely still ask this question on our stories because I want to know how, like, I'll do a poll of like, are you
Mhm.
uncomfortable? Is it weird to do kind of thing? But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I
I
felt
mean,
really
Sex in
stressed.
the City is kind of intense, some episodes.
I mean, it was really, really intense at the beginning. I've noticed like the early seasons, which is like so crazy because it was so long ago and like things like
Mhm.
that weren't okay on TV.
Mhm.
And it definitely gets better the more seasons you get into. Like they really don't make it as obvious. But there was like in season two, tits constantly were being shown like when they were having sex. And I was like, oh my God, like
Well,
there's
in
just
the
tits
Sex
on
in
my
the
TV.
City movie, there's a full-on penis shown by her next door neighbor.
Yeah, true.
So, and
I
it's
don't
like a
know.
long penis scene too. Literally and figuratively.
Some good screen time.
Anyways, guys, let us know your thoughts.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Make sure that you share with a friend if this resonated with you. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.